Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Red Room. This is Heather Carlisle, and I've been on vacation. You haven't heard from me for a month, and I'm excited to start teaching again every Wednesday night right here at the Red Room. And tonight, the topic that I want to share with you is how to take better care of yourself. So, I decided that the fast way to focus on the overview, the necessary ingredients of taking better care of yourself would be to share with you this fabulous talk by Dan Buettner. That's Buettner. You see it there on your screen. I typed the link for you. I discovered this earlier this year, and it thrilled me. It's a description of the 9 lifestyle habits that we all need in order to live a healthier, longer life. So, if we want a healthier, longer life, and most of us do, there are many things that we already know to do, and one of the problems with that, with most of us at any rate, is we know what to do, and yet we haven't figured out how to fit it into our lifestyle and how to do it for ourselves. So I'll be interested to hear your questions and your observations, the things that you think get in your way that make it difficult for you to get these 9 lifestyle habits nicely in place so that your lifestyle fosters your health, your happiness, your longevity with all of the good things in life. So whenever you want to ask me a question or you have a comment, let me know. The 9 lifestyle habits. So if you would like, print this off from the little link that's right there on the right-hand side of your screen. And this is what it's going to look like. These are the 9 lifestyle habits. And what thrilled me about this is it's a study by National Geographic. So it's one of the institutions that we can trust most in the world today. And it's from years of research where they looked at where they call the blue spots. And you'll find this on more links on the internet than just Dan's talk, but Dan's talk is my favorite. Blue spots where people live longer, healthier lives. And what they found looking at all of those folks is that there were 9 components that were common to all of these people. So there are 4 different areas that include these 9 components. So if we think about 1, move naturally. Well, we all know about exercise, but it's move naturally, not in some kind of a too structured or too challenging way, but a natural way. And one of the examples Dan gives is people who live in hilly or mountainous regions, or where they don't use some kind of transportation, where they walk a lot. So moving naturally is the top of the list, the top of his pyramid. So you see this, there are 4 colors, and the top one is just move naturally. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later, because so many of us know we need to work out, we need to move, we need to exercise, we need to keep ourselves in motion and active, and yet somehow or another we haven't been able to fit that into our lifestyle so that it's easy and we like it. A lot of us have done that, and some are much better at it now than our parents' generation was. So the next thing is the right outlook. And that means that there are 2 components of right outlook. And this is one of the things that so many of us have a hard time with. And Dan's model calls it downshift. Downshift, in my mind, means take a break. Take yourself shifted out of the ordinary things that you do in life, whether it's housework or taking care of the kids or your job or your hobby or whatever it is that is a favorite activity, it's necessary for us to take breaks, to stop, to downshift into another gear, so to speak. And I wonder if you know how to take downshifts, which ones work for you, and how often do you do this for yourself? Sometimes we downshift in ways that are pretty simple, pretty elementary, and they don't give us enough benefit. Sometimes we downshift too much, and then we don't have the benefit of the work that we need to get done. So there's a continuum there with that downshift. Then the second part of the right outlook is purpose now. That means that each one of us thrives on the idea that we have a purpose for today. Sometimes we need to have a sense of a larger purpose in life, a purpose for this year, a purpose for this relationship, purpose for this job. But the point that is made with the 9 lifestyle habits is that we need to have a sense of a purpose every day. When we wake up in the morning, to know that there's something that we want to and need to accomplish, that there's a purpose for us to move forward, to do new things. Then the third of the 4 areas for the 9 lifestyles is eat wisely. Nothing new, right? And if you have a question, don't hesitate to ask. Don't hesitate to say, well, this works for me or it doesn't work for me. So eating wisely, well, there are 3 components to eating wisely. Number 1, and this will be interesting to you. He says a glass of wine, a glass of red wine at 5 o'clock. And the reason that he says that is they found that the men who live longest on the planet Earth live in Sardinia. And the grapes that they grow in Sardinia and the wine that they make out of those grapes in that region, the red wine, has significantly more of that component that's healthy for us in red wine. And so that's one of the 9 lifestyle habits. Just 1 glass, but like a glass of wine with dinner. 1 glass of red wine at 5. Isn't that civilized? Then the third element is plant slant, which means slant your diet towards vegetables. Fruits, vegetables, grains, seeds. Slant your diet towards plants. And, we've got the food pyramid, which involves the different proteins and carbohydrates. But one of the most important things is to eat more fruits and vegetables, more plant food products. Okay, and number 3 is what he calls the 80% rule. And that means eat only 80% of what you want. That means stop eating when you're not full yet, or when there's 20% room left over. And that's I think, something that's not common for us in America and perhaps in other countries. It's more of how they eat. And Dan's example is the people in Asia. And one of the things that they do is to use several serving dishes and use very small serving dishes so that it's small portions. And then you eat slowly in small portions so that you're feeling full sooner in the meal rather than eating very quickly and not feeling full until you're overfull at the end of the meal. So those are the 3 things for eating wisely. Number 1, a glass of wine at 5, red wine. Number 2, eat more plant products. And number 3, you eat only 80% of what you want. Now, all of those are common sense, and yet do we have them as a habit? And that's underneath this is the 9 lifestyle habits. How do we do these lifestyles and make them habits? That's the question, isn't it? So then the fourth of the 4 areas is connect, and this is about people. So what the 9 lifestyle habits, there are 3 of them that are about food and 3 of them that are about connecting with people, 2 about your outlook and 1 about movement. So let's look at the one that is connect, and this is the foundation of the pyramid of the 9 lifestyle habits of healthy people. Connect. So there are 3 elements of connecting. Put your loved ones first, belong to some group of people or some organization, and hang out with the right tribe. So let's talk about that. We want to connect with our loved ones first, which means we put our family first, our husband or wife or spouse or partner, our kids, and our close family members that are healthy and contribute positive elements to our lives. So we want to put our close family members first. And usually we want to put them before anything else in life, unless it's our spirituality and taking care of ourselves. So then the second part of connecting with others is to belong. Belong somewhere to an organization, an association, a group of people, maybe a nonprofit, maybe a for-profit, but belong in an organization that supports your values and your interests. Find one that's happy and healthy. You know, it could be a golf club or a tennis club. It could be a quilting bee. It could be something that has to do with your own fine art. It could be a neighborhood organization. It could be getting together to support some kind of cause that you really believe in. But you want to belong somewhere with a group of people, kind of like a community, a neighborhood, somewhere where you enjoy the people and they share the values that are most important to you. So, and then the last thing under connecting is have the right tribe. So this is the 9th of the 9 components of healthy lifestyle habits. The right tribe, which means the people that you're close to, in essence, your friends. And there's a new piece of research that I found quite fascinating and in certain ways disconcerting. And that piece of research said that our income will be an average of the 5 people closest to us. Our physical health, our body weight will be an average of the 5 people closest to us. So that means that the people that we want to connect closely with, the people who make up our personal tribe, we want them to be as healthy and successful as we are, or more healthy and more successful than we are. And sometimes when we're in a position of growth or change, that's the hardest thing to let go of, is when you need to walk away from a tribe that's been pulling you down instead of being your peers or leading you forward. So if you have any questions or comments about this, please chime in. I'm very interested in hearing from you to see if this is something that's serving your interest, something that you're curious about. And one of the things that I'm usually interested in, because we're looking at, well, what are our habits? And those habits came from somewhere. They didn't just appear out of thin air, which means it was the previous generation. It was something to do with your family, your neighborhood, your school, the traditions that were around you because our habits are built on whatever it was that we had available to us. So then we're looking at these 9 lifestyle habits. Hi, Heather, I love what you're saying. Oh, cool. So if you love what I'm saying, which one of these lifestyle habits, or which ones are the ones that are tough for you to maintain at the quality that you really want them? So remember, there are 4 areas. Move naturally, which is your exercise and your flexibility, strength, being able to be physically fit, strong, and flexible. Number 2, your right outlook, which is learning how to take a break, to downshift, relax, get some kind of a break out of your day-to-day pattern, and to have a sense of your purpose now, your purpose today. And then the second of the 3 areas is eating wisely, and then the 4th one is connecting with people. So I have to tell you, one of the big motivators for me in wanting to share this with you today, because I think it's extremely important. And it's easy for us to describe it, to see those 9 habits and say, yes, we know that this is going to create a healthy lifestyle, a healthy physical body. But it's easy to say all that, and most of it makes pretty much common sense. But each one of us has some of those habits that we're pretty good at and some that aren't. Well, one of the ones that I need improvement on is the downshift, which means stopping, taking a break. Because I love my work so much, as a lot of us do, that it really feeds me, and I get going on it and I don't want to stop, and I keep moving and moving and moving, but sooner or later we need a break. And just recently I could tell that I needed a break, and not just an ordinary break, not just a break to go to the symphony, or to go for a walk, or to take a day off. I needed a significant break, kind of like a reset. So I haven't been broadcasting for the month of May because, because Jack and I took a 2-week vacation, and we went to Europe. We stayed in Oxford, in London, and in Paris. And Jack had never been to London or Paris or Oxford before. And so it was an adventure. And I knew that I needed the break. I knew that I needed to get away. And I'm quite delighted with what I experienced inside myself about me and my life, in many ways because of that kind of a significant downshift, a significant break. Not only to get out of your home or to take a day off, but to get away from your country, away from your language, away from your friends, and everything that's familiar. I can tell you that when we came home this Monday, I saw my home and where we live, our friends and our neighborhood and this city through new eyes in a certain way, and felt extremely grateful. So tell me, how good are you at downshifting, at taking breaks? And what works for you? Some people are really good at it, and sometimes are a little too good at it. They take breaks too long, and it costs them too much in time and money and their responsibilities. Some people do it really well. And I think that has to do with what you grew up with, first of all. Yes, breaks are very refreshing. I find that I wait too long to get that break. And I'm one of those, just like you. So one of the things I came home with was a commitment to myself to take higher quality breaks for me, because I find that when I take a really high quality break, I get new ideas, I get new energy, and it adds to how I see my life and what I want to do. So It was very inspiring to be in Europe. And we experienced 3 different symphony orchestras because Jack loves the symphony, and he was stunned at how superb they were. And I love drama, so we went to the Globe Theater and saw Henry VIII, the Shakespeare play. It was wonderful. And the artists were just top notch, absolutely brilliant, funny and moving and inspiring. So that's a good question. What other types of quality breaks if travel is not an easy option? And that's exactly the point. So I thought about me needing to take a break, and of course, going to Europe or even going to Galveston or the California coast or the Colorado Rockies, sometimes you can't do that. So what is it? And there's a talk in me that I may give someday and I may not, I don't know, we'll see. But the talk is when a bubble bath and a massage aren't enough. Because, that's one of the things that we think of as a break. And yet, after a while, that's not enough. We need a higher quality break. And I don't know about you, but one of the breaks that I take sometimes for myself is I don't want to stop working because I'm working on a creative project that I just love, but I need a break and I'm hungry. So I'll just head for the refrigerator and I'll get whatever is in there because I don't want to spend time in the kitchen, cleaning the kitchen, all of that. So I'll get a snack. Bad choice. Because snacks usually end up not being the healthiest and not at the right time of day. And so that kind of a break is very, from my viewpoint, for me at least, it's a low quality break. So if I wanted to use that as an example, a high quality break would mean, and I love being in the kitchen and I love cooking. So it would not mean me going into the kitchen and baking a batch of cookies, not high quality, right? But it could mean deciding that I'm going to make a fabulous lunch or dinner and just take the break, take the time, and if I need the ingredients, going to the store to get them because that's a part of the break, part of the creative process of getting the materials that you need to do something like that. Where, maybe I haven't cooked beef bourguignon for 5 years and I haven't. Where you use red wine and special beef and marinate it and all that. It takes time. I love doing it, and I usually don't take the break that I need in order to do something at that level. So that's an example that everybody has. We've got our kitchen. We have a place to go cook, and if you have to be somebody who likes to cook or loves to do things in the kitchen for their loved ones, that's a cool break to take. Now, if you hate cooking, not a good one. Someone says, you can do a staycation where you stay home and really protect your time to yourself by limiting phone calls or any interruptions. And you're absolutely right. That's one of the commitments I made to myself because, truth to tell, the things that I love most in the world are in my home. That's where I collect them. That's where they're accessible to me. And so this leads to another part of the commitment that I made to myself. I realized being around all those creative people that every one of us is creative. We all have different things that we like to make, create, design, build. And right now I could feel the deep craving to give myself the time to paint, to do some acrylics, some large acrylics. And that takes time. It takes paints, it takes space in my day. And I decided that I would do a staycation and take an entire week off where I don't schedule any clients or talks or anything like that. And I just stay at home, do whatever I want here, cook, and most of all, take the time to let myself be the artist in me, where I dress like the artist, I get myself the materials, and I've already got 2 projects that I can hardly wait to get to. So I'm not going to wait for that staycation week, because what I've decided is from now on, until whenever it feels complete, I'm going to take 1 day a week and just do nothing that day other than cook good food and paint something. So that's my, you gave me a perfect segue with your staycation idea, because that's exactly what I came to the conclusion I want to do. I don't need to go anywhere or spend money on great dinners or travel or going out, or a golf game or a tennis club or a concert or something. I want to stay home and be in my space and create what I want to create. Now, there's other things that I love to create. I don't know about you, but I'd be interested in hearing what you like to create, and maybe you don't give yourself time to do it. Maybe you don't have the tools. Maybe you need to provide yourself with some better tools. I have an idea of creating a book of prayers that go along with the watercolor angels that I love to paint. And I've had those watercolor angels for some time. I've been writing prayers for a long time, and I realized I can just go down to Kinko's and have even 4 or 5 of them made just as gifts for friends who maybe are grieving or who are having a hard time, or maybe they're in that place where they're in the dark night of the soul or the valley of the shadow of death when they've lost a lot of things and it's hard. And that would be way more personal and higher quality to be able to give them more than just a greeting card, but a little booklet of my watercolor paintings along with the prayers that I've written. So that was another thing that I decided would be a quality break for me, where I'm not doing something for the books I'm writing or for the clients that I'm working with, but just for me to use my own personal art. Let's see. I would like to write, but don't find the time. There you go. That's why I had to make the commitment to myself, because I'm not very good at taking breaks, and I'm now old enough, and I've looked at myself enough to see that all of those things require, bottom line, the very first thing they require is time. And sometimes we feel like we don't have the time. And I got to the place, especially being in Europe and completely away from my life, where I looked at what people were doing, how they were treating each other, the art that we saw in the museums and on the streets. And I thought, if I don't stop and take the time to do my work, my art, I'll just wake up at some point one day and say, what happened? I could have done a piece, at least one painting a year, and I'd end up with 30 paintings if I just did one every year, let alone doing something more regularly than once a year. And if I don't take the time, if I don't take the break, if I don't downshift, if I don't decide that it's okay for me to stop everything, to take the break, downshift myself into the place that's just for me personally, nobody else is going to make it happen. And the truth is, it's nobody else's responsibility. So, this is your responsibility, dear. You say, I would like to write, but don't find the time. Well, you don't find the time because you don't decide to get the time for yourself, no matter what. And I think I've used this story before, but think about when you fall in love and you've got a full life. Somehow or another, you find the time to be together, to do fun things together, to talk on the phone. So when it's really urgent or when we really care, we do figure out how to find the time. So that means there's something in you that says other things are more important and that the time for yourself is kind of just out there somewhere. What do you think? What do you think you think is more important than taking the time to write? What is that barrier, that obstacle that's keeping you from it? It's absolutely necessary to do things that feed your soul. Sometimes you have to make room for it. I couldn't say it better. Absolutely. And there are some of us who are not very good at that. We think maybe a workaholic, may feel like, it's that old thing, it's better to give than to receive. And the people who need to hear that lesson are the ones that don't give very easily. But guess who listens to it? The people who are already giving too much. So what is it that stands in your way? Now, if we look at this at the broadest level and at the level of least competence, one of the things that pops up is addiction. I think of not everybody, but many people who have bad habits. And so like one of my habits is I'll go get a snack because that's an easy thing to do. Well, if I weren't as, I guess, healthy as I am, that could lead into a food addiction where the only thing that I use to give myself a break, to take that downshift, is to go and get food. So when we find something that comforts us or that helps us take a break or to downshift, then, and it works, then we keep going back to that. And there's a kind of a continuum where in the beginning it's something that we like to do that gives us a little bit of a break, and then because that's good, we'll try it again next time, and then it becomes a habit. For example, like someone I was working with recently, he loved playing this video game. And that was a way to take a break and to have some fun. That's a good downshift. But by the time he came to see me in my private practice, it was like he was more married to that video game on his computer than he was to his wife. Because when he wanted pleasure, comfort, a downshift, he went to the computer game where he had all kinds of involvement, enjoyment, stimulation, excitement, prestige, and his wife was kind of like left because they didn't have built into their lifestyle wonderful, fun, cool stuff that they did together. Another comment. Do you think it's rooted in a fear of failure? Sometimes, absolutely. Another comment. The writing I should do relates to work. So I guess that's not really feeding the soul. You caught yourself, didn't you? Cool. Some people have a fear of failure, but not everybody does. If you really think about the people in your life, some people, it's like they don't have any fear of failure because they just go right ahead. Their fear may be of intimacy, of opening their heart and being completely honest about what touches them deeply. Or some people are afraid of losing control, where they want to have their hands in everything. So we have all different kinds of fear, and fear of failure definitely can be one of them. Maybe it's yours. I think for me, and Jack and I named this part of me. He's good at that. The piece of me that keeps me from downshifting and taking a break and taking care of myself the way I need to is a part of me that is kind of like a workaholic, and Jack named her Hunchback. Hunchback is responsible to a fault, and she will not stop because She learned very, very young, when you start a project, you finish it. You don't back down, you don't wimp out. When you've got something going, you finish it, and don't walk away until it's done. Well, and we all know it's never done, is it? So there's always more, and also this ties into how much I love my work and how there's always more for me to learn, write, teach, do, implement. And so I wasn't taught to take a break until it was done. If it's never done, then you don't take a break, right? Which is why I was taking small breaks, crumbs of breaks. And so I find that many people who have this, oh, we've been so acculturated by, especially by American society, where we're pioneers, we have to do it, we have to be responsible, and we have to make it happen, which is one of the things that has made this country so fabulous. But we weren't shown how to stop the work and create a lifestyle. And so I love this piece that I'm sharing with you tonight about the 9 lifestyle habits of a healthy life. Let's see, we got another comment. That's cute. I like how he externalized that for you. It helps to have our loved ones point out when we're stuck. It really does. They see us better from the outside. And so Hunchback is grim. I mean, sometimes she really gets stuff done, but after a while, when I need a break, she's grim. You know, she's way too serious. And so that means that I'm working on lightening up and having a better sense of humor. And I've made a great big new commitment to taking breaks, to the downshift part. But not a break that's just, having a cigarette, getting a chocolate bar, calling your mother on the phone, having a beer, stopping at the bar on the way home, watching your favorite whatever game it is on TV, or getting involved in a video game. All of those, we do them, but what happens if we do them and don't have a good breadth of things in our lifestyle, it becomes the thing that we always do, and then it's a habit. And if it takes up too much, then it becomes a bad habit. And then it becomes a craving. And then it becomes more than that, something that we have to have. And then, of course, down the road, it can become a compulsion and an addiction. And then it can destroy our life. So what we want to be careful with is whatever it is that we do to take a break, we don't want it to be a bad habit, and we want to have a kind of a smorgasbord of stuff that we do. So if we just end up doing the same thing over and over and over again, usually unless you shut down some of your systems, numb yourself like with alcohol or cigarettes or food or something, it's not enough. If you numb down your system, then it's like, that's enough. It's like, I don't really need anything else, which is not being fully alive, is it? So my goal for myself is to find a way to downshift, a way to take breaks that I can't help myself. It is too cool, it's too fun, and I really, really, really want it. So that it's a system, a series of different types of breaks that I design into my week, my month. So let's see. Any other thoughts? Any other questions? What is it that's hard for you, that makes it hard for you to downshift? So the writing that person was talking about says that it relates to work. So then, what answers the question that feeds your soul? What is it that really feeds your soul? Do you know? And it's interesting to me, and it's saddening to me that so often I'll ask people what their passion is, or what they love to do, or what feeds their soul, and so often they really and truly don't know. let's see, nature feeds my soul. Ah, interesting. I'm so glad you said that. There's a new study that I read just this week, a new study that says that relieving our stress, the thing that research shows is most effective is being outdoors, being in nature. So then if you're aware of that, that means that you need to have access to nature in all different ways. So if you need access to nature, do you have 4 or 5 ways that you can get that? You know, a place where you go for a walk that's just gorgeous, or working in your yard, in your garden, or going for a swim in a pool, getting in onto a bicycle and going somewhere beautiful, or belonging to one of the societies where you get to go outdoors, whether you're climbing mountains or bicycling or parachuting or rafting down a river. I believe it. It works for me, yes. And do you have things that work for you? Have you got it dialed into your life? Have you got different lifestyle patterns to make sure you get enough nature boosts, nature fixes, so to speak? Have you got that? Have you made sure to get that? Have you made sure that you've got something in your life? You know, sometimes it's riding a motorcycle or having a bicycle or walking shoes, and a place that you don't walk just around your neighborhood, but you go to the different parks and walk there. So have you figured that one out? And I'm really interesting about, let's see, I want to look at the comments before you. The person that mentioned the staycation, I'm wondering, when you create a staycation, what is it that you do? I gave my example for what I do because I happen to be a painter, and that's one of the things that feeds my soul best. But when you want a staycation, you know, sometimes a staycation is you want to have friends over and just have lunch together and talk and relax. Sometimes you want solitude. Sometimes you just want to watch a comedy on TV. Sometimes you need absolute quiet. What is it that is special for your staycation? Because anytime you share something, everybody else listening gets the same tips. So does that answer the question about how we downshift without taking a vacation? I do have a passion list. It's about 8 pages long. And, you know, 60 to 90% of it probably doesn't really relate to you or the lifestyle that you want. And it also has things that maybe you haven't thought of in a long time, or you didn't think of it until now you're ready to fit that into your life. So if you want that, if that would help you start planning really high quality breaks for yourself, I would be happy to share that with you. Okay, how do you recognize that you need to downshift? What are some of the early signs? Oh, I love that question. Well, for each one of us, of course, how we stress is going to look slightly different. Now, I know that how I stress is I get grouchy and I get irritable, I get impatient, and I start snapping and being, you know, not nice to be around, kind of like verbally not nice, which is not who I really am, you know. I love people and I respect is the foundation of everything that I think. And being grouchy and snapping at somebody or being impatient and frustrated, that's not who I am. So when I notice I'm getting that kind of edge, I've waited too long to downshift. So that's one of the things for me. Another thing for me is if when I wake up in the middle of the night And at my age, I usually wake up in the middle of the night at least once. And I notice that what's going in my mind or what's in my dreams is kind of gray, kind of just, and it's not peaceful, and it's not really happy and grateful to have my life. That says that I need to downshift, that I can, because at that point in the middle of the night, all the other things of the world are gone, and I'm just with myself and my own attitude and my own mind. So that's one of the signs that I see. So sometimes one of the signs is you don't sleep well. Sometimes you've got aches and pains and you just don't have energy. Sometimes you feel depressed. Sometimes you're just really, really frustrated with somebody in your life. And in essence, you're pointing the finger of blame and saying, it's all their fault. They're men. Well, whenever we point the finger of blame, we usually need to get the finger pointed back here to say, what is it that I need? And rather than blaming somebody else and putting on that old victim hat, what is it that I need to do to take better care of myself so that I get what I need? Let's see, another comment. I do too, and when I get that way, I feel like I've gone too far already. How do you incorporate soul feeding into your daily life to prevent the buildup? Isn't that a great question? This is a wise person. Well, that's when you decide, you step back and you look at your lifestyle. And if you don't have moments in the day where you get some quiet, whether it's early in the morning or before you go to bed or at lunchtime or when you get home from work, if you don't have some quiet moments just to kind of chill and to not have anybody or anything bothering you, that's one of the things that most everybody needs, where there's just a little place where, John Gray calls it when men need cave time. Well, I find that I need cave time too. Even though I love being around people, I need just quiet, nobody bothering me. So you're talking about soul feeding. So first of all, of course, you need to be able to define what is it that feeds your soul. So like, for example, if nature feeds your soul, then I would say, that little rule of thumb that Julia Cameron gives us, that every day we should take a 20-minute walk or a 40-minute walk. So maybe that means that every day you need a walk, not just 3 days a week, but every day. I know my mom loved to be outside, and she would get up earlier than the whole family, and she'd go out and she would weed in the garden, which I hate weeding the garden, but she would go out in the dawn and weed the plants because she just loved being out there and loved being alone. And that's something that she did regularly. So sometimes you get a boost of nature by maybe you want a little moment of prayer or meditation, and you put a beautiful screensaver on your computer that's nature, trees, woods, and forests with sayings on it. And I know there are some websites that have those readily available where you just stop sometime during your day, whether it's a coffee break or when you get home, and build that in so that you get a moment of prayer or meditation or pictures of nature or just going outside on the back step with a book or sit on the porch swing. Something that you then decide. You need to know what works for you, and you design it into your life, whatever it is that feeds your soul. And I know sometimes, that book, Sarah Ben Breathnach's book about the daily quotes for a woman's comfort, or the daily word, which is the little devotional book or the upper room, or a book of peaceful thoughts, sometimes that is one of the things that pulls us into a quiet moment to make sure that that's our habit every day, that we get that moment with that devotional or that inspirational reading. Or for you, that every day, somewhere or another, you decide to fit it in. You know, like the homecoming ritual. When you come home, before you do anything else, everybody knows to leave you alone. You go out on the back patio and you sit in your favorite chair and you just breathe and just watch the birds and the trees. Let's see your comment here. I also think everyone needs some kind of genuine inspiration, something that elevates your thinking to things of beauty. I love how you said that. I agree with you 100%, and it's important to me. I know that my home needs to be beautiful, or I'm kind of feeling down a little bit. I need things of beauty, and I love art, fine art, good art, and I don't like any, the things that I don't like. So I need things of beauty. I need my towels to be pretty. So just in your daily life, the things that you see and touch every day, if you can look at those and say, we don't have matching towels in the bathroom. It's time for me to do something about that, because you touch them every day, If you've got a cruddy old chip teapot and you make yourself tea every day, go out and just start looking around for just the right, beautiful piece of porcelain for your teapot. Another comment. I like what you said about when you blame others, you are being a victim. What makes us take on that role? Why would we want to be a victim? Oh, that's a very good question. It's a very complex question too, because there are many answers to it. We're all different. We all play victim in a different way. Lots of reasons to play victim. First of all, there's a payoff. When we play victim, there's always a payoff. There's a payoff so that if I can point my finger of blame at somebody else, then I don't need to be responsible for it. And then I don't need to do anything. If, as a victim, I want to be right, and it's all your fault, then I get to be right. If I take responsibility, I'm going to have to, instead of make it all your fault, I'm going to have to look at needing to apologize and to forgive. And maybe I'm not very good at that. Maybe it's uncomfortable for me to do that. Playing a victim also is sometimes old habits, old bad habits. It's like, well, I can't do anything about it, which means I don't want to do anything about it, or I don't know what to do about it. And so I just keep it going around and around. Sometimes we play victim so that we can stay in those old patterns, because part of us doesn't want to move. Part of us doesn't like change. Part of us doesn't want to expend extra energy. And so if I can play the victim, then I don't have to do anything. I don't have to be active. On the other hand, the opposite of that is playing victim to somebody by saying, it's all your fault and I'm going to punish you, I'm going to abuse you, I'm going to make you pay because I'm the victim of whatever it is that I think you did wrong. So that's a way of staying angry, staying in a place of feeling powerful, because I'm going to get you because it's all your fault. So why would we want to be a victim? Sometimes it means we can stay in control. Sometimes it means that we don't have to stop whining. Sometimes it means that we don't have to extend extra energy. Sometimes it's just an old bad habit that your family did. So it's a complex question. And if you want to tune in another week and ask the question again with more details, I would love to look at that one because that one we can look at from all different angles. So thank you so much for asking it. Okay, another, I see a victim doesn't have control. They're at the mercy of others. Well, they think they are, right? And that's the good news and the bad news. If we have responsibility, I'm no longer a victim. And the good news and the bad news is I need to do something, which means, oh, I need to do something, which means, well, I guess I'm responsible and I'm in charge, and I get to do something, which means I get to pick if I'm responsible. I'm not at someone else's behest. I'm not a victim of somebody else's. Okay, another comment. That's also the reason why it's hard to try new things. Yes, for some people. Other people, they love trying new things. As a matter of fact, they'll try new things and try new things and try new things and never even go back to the ones that really work. So, as you can tell, I'm always sensitive to the paradox, the continuum. When there are people who don't like to try new things for various reasons, maybe they're afraid. Maybe they're also afraid to let go of what they do like because there might not be anything better. And if I let go of this and there's nothing better, then I've lost, right? So there are lots of reasons why it's hard to try new things. Some people just don't want to be that out of control or vulnerable because they might have that old affliction, perfectionism. And if you've got the affliction of perfectionism, then you're not willing to try anything unless you believe that you're going to be perfect at it or get it right or be an expert right out of the gate. And if we logically, intelligently look at that, of course, that really doesn't work hardly ever, does it? Oh, dear hearts, thank you for joining me tonight. And thank you for your wonderful comments and your great questions. Your comments are so wise and kind and deep. It's very heartening to me, and I'm sure to the other listeners. Thanks so much, Heather. You are so helpful, and I'm thankful for you. Well, I'm thankful for you because that gives me a reason to teach and enter this kind of delicious dialogue. Thank you so much. Thanks, me too, me too. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And I hope you got the handout. If you didn't, please email me and I'll make sure that you got it. And if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to email me and ask me. And you can keep chatting if you want as well. But my hour is up. The Red Room is going to close, but it will be open next Wednesday night, same place, same time. Good night, everyone.